A wonderful drag-inspired indie coming of age about finding your voice and finding who you are? Yes, please. Let's talk about Chrissy Judy. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watch Our Past. Today I'm talking about Chrissy Judy, which is already out. It had a limited release, but it's getting a wider theatrical release on April 7th, 2023, and it's coming to DVD and digital on April 11th, 2023. It's an indie coming-of-age film about a drag queen who's trying to find her voice, find her place in the world after her best friend slash co-star in her life has to leave abruptly, and now she is alone trying to kind of figure out her place in this world and figure out what to do next. It is wonderful. It is a really great film. My hot take is, look, I think you should watch it. It's a bold film. It's a beautiful film. Sometimes it's sad. Sometimes it is exhilarating, but it is a great coming-of-age movie about love, life, and kind of finding your voice. I thought it was really well done. It's an amazing kind of feat by the writer, director, and star Todd Flaherty, and I definitely think you should check it out. It definitely has something to say, and is a type of movie that you're probably not going to see many other places. I mean, the first thing you'll notice is that the film is in black and white, which I thought was a very interesting choice. So I'm going to make my review black and white. All right, let's see if Movie Magic can do it. If it didn't, well, I will just edit this out anyways. But the film is definitely striking in many ways, and so I'm going to tell you a little more about the film. A few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and go very briefly into the ending because I had some interesting conversations about the ending. So if you don't want to know what happens in the film, turn it off when I get to the ending section. But before that, I'll keep it vague, and I will let you know when I get to those spoilers. So in Chrissy Judy, you have two main characters. You have Chrissy and Judy. They are best friends. They live in New York. They have the drag show that they do occasionally. But Chrissy, early in the film, just kind of up and abruptly leaves New York because of something's happening in his personal life. And so that leaves Judy in New York now trying to kind of find her place without Chrissy. And so much of her life has been kind of revolving around Chrissy and their shared experiences that it's tough for her to find her own kind of footing. But the film is about that exploration, the ups and the downs of it. It is just an interesting film. And like I said, this is definitely a fairly unique experience and a movie you're not going to see anything else like this year, I imagine. So things I liked about this movie. The first, I love the writing. The writing is very sharp. It's very funny. It has a very kind of, I don't know, it's almost like no filter. Judy is an open book and she says whatever she wants because that's kind of her character. And it's really fun to kind of see that interaction that happens in this character that is so strong-willed and so sure of herself. Even when maybe her life isn't the kind of the most put together, she knows what she wants. She does what she wants, and I loved kind of the way that the writing just kind of tease that out. She's definitely someone that kind of speaks her mind, and I really loved kind of seeing how that all interplayed in this coming of age film and how that can kind of change throughout the journey. Well, the second thing I loved are the characters. There are a lot of very interesting characters, a lot of very interesting personalities. I mean, the main interesting personality is Judy herself, and both Judy out of drag and then Judy in drag are fun to see. But you're joined by an entire cast of other members of her circle, new people that come in, and everyone is very different, very unique, but they all kind of fit together in this overall story. And I really liked kind of seeing all the various drag queens, non-drag queens, friends in New York, friends elsewhere. I love seeing how they all kind of interacted and experienced the ups and downs of Judy's journey. The third thing I loved is the style, and I think the most striking one is the black and white nature of this film. I think that was a very interesting choice, but it definitely makes this film kind of stand out. It's strange that a movie that is in black and white kind of stands out from the crowd from other movies that are full color everything, but I feel like that is such a strong stylistic choice, and it turns this movie into something that is very interesting and something that feels very kind of old school and very intimate. The black and white nature definitely lets you focus on the drama and kind of removes distractions in the film in a movie that would normally be very kind of bright and vibrant. It's a movie about drag shows and about kind of New York nightlife. And when you turn that into a black and white film, it really helps you focus on the characters and their interactions and not be distracted by all the other things going on in Judy's life. The fourth thing I liked, which is related kind of to style, is the music. The music is wonderful. It has this kind of old vaudeville soundtrack through most of it, old jazz numbers that really kind of fit with the Judy drag character, but also some of the things in Judy's life. Judy has an old soul at times and kind of has a reverence for an old time, and the music definitely helps to kind of set that stage, but it also has this kind of glamorous feel to it, and that is something that Judy is trying to strive for in her performances and in her life. And the jazz soundtrack, the kind of like old vaudeville kind of soundtrack, definitely helps with that. And the last thing I loved is the drama. Like, this is ultimately a coming of age film. There are ups and downs to Judy's journey, and that leads to a lot of drama. And that makes for a very interesting film and a very interesting character progression that we all get to watch together. So, things I didn't love as much, there really wasn't anything. I mean, I guess maybe it kind of slowed down in the middle, but it was fine. Like, I really enjoyed this movie from start to finish. I liked the characters, I liked the journey, I liked a lot of the choices. So there really wasn't anything I didn't really like. So that is Chrissy Judy. It's coming to wide release on theaters on April 7th, 2023, and then it's coming to DVD and digital on April 11th, 2023. So you can check it out in many different ways. I'm going to go to the ending of the film very briefly. So if you don't want to know what happens in the film, turn it off now. There will be spoilers. But if you want to know what happens, if you want to hear my thoughts, then let's keep going. So, like I said, in Chrissy Judy, you have Judy, who is in New York. Her best friend, Chrissy, goes to Philadelphia for a romantic relationship to try to be with this person, Sean. And that comes as a big surprise because there's almost no preview. All of a sudden, Chrissy is going to New York, trying to be with Sean, and that's about it. Like there is almost no preview for this. And so now Judy is kind of left to fend for herself in New York. And that, she's not hopeless, but so much of her life has revolved around her and Chrissy's interactions that now that she is on her own, there's a very different feel to her life. It's a very different kind of like sense of purpose that she has. And she keeps trying to do the things that she was doing when Chrissy was there, which I think is natural. It's normal. She's doing drag shows, but now she's one member of a pair, so she's not as dynamic. She's not really as kind of like entertaining without Chrissy. And then she's also still going to parties and still clubbing, but it feels like maybe there might be something missing. And eventually, Chrissy invites Judy to go down to Philadelphia. She goes down. It is very different. You can tell that there is some tension. And eventually it leads to Judy kind of like getting mad, blowing up at Chrissy and Chrissy's boyfriend, Sean, and then going back up to New York. Now, the big turn happens when Judy's back up in New York. She has some fairly bad experiences in New York and decides that she will now take this kind of like summer job in Provincetown, Massachusetts, as a houseboy to this kind of like in bed and breakfast type place, little like small hotel. And that is really where I think she starts to blossom. Like, she cuts her hair, she changes like her mentality. She's really focusing on life and trying to like focus on growing herself and like being with herself. And so this is really when she comes into her own. And so there is a like small drag show that happens over the summer, and she starts to kind of do performances in it, and it builds toward this like very last performance at the very end where Judy finally like debuts this like new persona that she has been kind of hoping to go by, but has just kind of been stuck in a rut as Judy for a very long time. And she debuts Sweet Lorraine, and it is this wonderful scene because she's singing like an older number that fits with her personality, fits with like what she's hoping for, and it is very powerful. It's very kind of like compelling to watch her sing this old song. You can tell that she has a lot of confidence. She kind of has a stage presence. It really does feel like an evolution of her character. And so now that she's out here as Sweet Lorraine, she's killing it. Like she is, the crowd is loving her. She's like getting attention. She's finally kind of, I think, in a good place. She's found her voice. She's found like her footing, and she's pretty happy with herself. But up in Provincetown, there is also Chrissy. Chrissy goes up there for some reason. You don't really know why. It seems like maybe he's looking for Judy and try to like rekindle a friendship, or just maybe he's not, maybe he's lost and kind of looking for some guidance. But in any event, he's up there and they keep kind of like not running into each other. It's like intentionally not running into each other. Eventually, after that last jazz performance night, they run into each other on this like rock pier in Provincetown. So they finally talk. It turns out Chrissy's there by himself. Sean didn't have any vacation day, so couldn't come up. But Chrissy needed a vacation, which I think kind of speaks volumes about his happy life in Philadelphia that he was projecting. Maybe it's not as happy as it was, but he needed to get away. He decides to come to Provincetown, probably because he knew Judy would be up there, and they start hashing it out. Like say, they're sorry about what happened in Philadelphia. They kind of like sort of reconnect, but there is definitely kind of a wall here, which is interesting to see because you would think that it would be like a lovely reuniting of two old friends, but that's not what this is. This feels like a kind of awkward um first meeting of some people that knew each other very well a while ago. Chrissy kind of asks what's next for Judy, and Judy's like, I have no idea. Like it's scary, but she doesn't know what she's going to do next, but I think she seems like she's in a pretty good place. She does say that she is going to watch the sunrise and ask Chrissy if Chrissy wants to stay. Chrissy says, no, I'm going to go back and call Sean and crash. And this was an interesting scene because so Chrissy leaves and Judy just stays and watches the sunrise, which again, I think shows like how she's in a good place with herself, how she's kind of happy with herself and like making strong decisions that she is happy with and not kind of like being influenced. Like she doesn't go and leave with Chrissy. She stays, watches the sunrise, and then heads back. And the next morning after the sunrise, Judy's walking to like a ferry, I guess, to get back to, eventually get back to New York. I don't know exactly how you get back to New York. You probably take a ferry to a train or something. And as she's walking, Chrissy comes up and walks next to her. And then they're on the ferry going back home, and Chrissy just puts his head on Judy's shoulder, and then that's it. That's the end of the movie. You don't really know what's going to happen. It seems like perhaps they are going to kind of like hash things out and maybe kind of like start anew, but you don't know. It's not really a happy or a sad ending. It's just an ending, and I thought it was interesting because I watched it with my wife, and like I thought it was a pretty happy ending. I was like, look, like Judy has her new persona. She is confident now. She has her voice. She's kind of like determined in what she wants to do, and Chrissy is there as well. Maybe not as they used to be, but Chrissy is back in her life in some aspects. So I thought I was pretty happy. My wife thought it was pretty sad because it's like Chrissy and Judy, like Chrissy is Judy's person, but they're not like they were. There is definitely a rift between them. There's definitely like some sort of awkwardness there, and so even though they're like together in this beautiful place, it's not the same as it was. So I thought that was interesting. I thought it was interesting that you could have two very different interpretations of the ending, but I think that also speaks to kind of like the strength of this film and some of the stylistic choices that you can have an ending like this with two very different takes that still concludes like a very fulfilling movie and a very, very fulfilling journey. So that is Chrissy Judy. It comes to a wide release in theaters on April 7th, 2023, and to digital and DVD on April 11th, 2023. I definitely think you should check it out. It is a bold movie, it is an interesting movie, and definitely something that you're not going to see elsewhere. So thanks so much for watching. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.